We're all commercially interested to make sure the business grows. However, this is an opportunity to literally thank everyone that's been on this journey with us.
These are the challenges that the UK is facing at the moment where...
Is this ready for... Are you sure this is okay for camera?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so Hussain, welcome to our first podcast, and we've been meaning to do this for a while, and I'd just like to welcome all of our viewers to the Unscripted podcast by Trickle Up, and I'm joined by my business partner, Muhammad Hussain. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you. Just trying to get used to this whole idea of a podcast, consider it's my first ever podcast, and looking forward to it. I'm sure we'll make it work.
Yeah, hopefully. So first of all, I wanted to take this opportunity to thank you, and first of all for coming to Pakistan again. And the other thing is, I thought about this about 2-3 months ago. I thought, I get all the fame and fortune and all the plaudits of, oh wow, to see if you've got a really big office and there's 45-50 people working here. And then meanwhile, I think to myself, no one recognizes the poor guy who's traveling up and down the motorway, meeting clients, conference calls, or our meetings which are happening on the weekend and weekdays and constant catch up. So I just thought I'd take this opportunity to recognize your efforts and say, well done, Hussain. Really nice office. I love it.
Yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying the office on my behalf at least. But I think if there was anyone I was going to choose in my time of work and where we obviously started, there's no one I'd like it to be more than you. So that's my sentiment back to you. But I think I prefer being the guy driving up the M1 and forming those relationships that we have done for quite a few years now. So thank you so much. But let's keep the relationship and the roles the way they are, because you're suited for the big office.
All right. So last time you came, we were in the old office, and we had a general store downstairs, and then we had a restaurant, and then we had like one floor, and we had capacity of 23-24 people. That's how big the team was. And now you've come back and we're between 45 and 50 people. We've got 3 floors. I've got a fancy office, and everyone's in a really good place. We had an amazing team day yesterday as well, where we took the whole team out. And if anyone wants to see that, they can go on our socials, and I'm sure we'll have some nice fancy video there that demonstrates that as well. So how does this make you feel?
So it's a weird one, because when you're so far away, 4,000 miles away, and we're having constant conversations, we're having conference calls, and seeing everyone from a virtual point of view, you get an element of an understanding of how things are. But often that can be quite robotic, quite linear, and then you come here and then you see, like you always talk about, socializing the plan, and it's an element of socializing the business for me. So I've spent the last, I've got here on Friday, we're in day 4 now maybe, and we've worked continuously, but I wouldn't have it any other way. But the striking moments are where we've taken a team of 45 out, doing things that they wouldn't conventionally or typically do, stuff like paintballing, bowling that we did yesterday, and those things. I think we can kind of become quite desensitized because we take it for granted, because coming from the Western world and having that at our disposal has made it probably easier for us to access. But when we started this journey, one of the key things we said was, how do we connect great people, global talent, and how do we take it to the organizations that need it the most, that are struggling with skill set shortages or labor shortages? That was our vision. And then seeing that, not even necessarily the work bit, I've only had 4 or 5 hours with them, seeing some of the great work they're doing, but seeing them kind of going out there, socializing, humanizing it, for me, that's the powerful piece. And that trajectory of growth that we've had and where we're heading, that's the bit that really super excites me. But knowing that we're doing it with the right people, for the right cause and the right purpose. So that's my sentiments more than anything.
Okay. And one of the things that we've spoke about a lot is around our culture, and we're really focused on making sure we have the right culture of high performance, high delivery, but then meanwhile people are engaged to do what they want to do. How do you think our visions landed on a day-to-day basis, and how are you seeing that between the different people that work here?
Yes, that's a really good question, because I think being here, well, obviously you ask great questions. It actually reminds me when we worked together, 15 years ago, and that whole great question, but that's a separate story, so I won't go into that just yet. I will do at some point, but not right now. But I think coming here and recognizing that we've got a whole host of different talent, and some at different stages, and for me it's the understanding of business. And I think when you start that whole business journey or life. And I say this often, where life to me is, this is your entry point, birth, and there's your exit, which is death. And in that, you're on a what do you call it?
Path.
A path, conveyor belt. Okay, you're on a conveyor belt, and at different points of your life, the variables, your purpose completely changes. Okay, and I think for us, whilst creating this vision and where we are, we've got our own pathway for this business. And what we're going through is that, we say it often, the whole storming, forming, and then norming. We're going through that storming to norming phase where we're understanding who fits us. It doesn't necessarily mean someone's not the right fit for us or someone's the perfect fit for us. It's about understanding who is that, because they've got to drive our cultural values, our organizational goals, and what we want to achieve. And along that journey, there'll be some great people that will be very, very complementary to that. And some people, they've either outgrown us, which is fantastic. We wish them all the best. And we're massive on that, because life doesn't stop with us. That's for them to go and achieve whatever. But whilst the individual is with us, we want to make sure that they're contributing to that. So I think we're at that stage where we've got some unbelievable talent. And honestly, it absolutely shocks me and wows me how amazing some of the guys are. I was speaking to the AI guy just now, and he's quickly messing about with his computer, but bringing that to life. I won't say I'm a techie, but I'm aware of what's going on in the world of tech. And to think that we're doing that and delivering that right from here, connecting it to Western world, is for me is the powerful piece. And I think the journey ahead is really exciting more than anything.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the things is that I always want you to come, I think it took me 3 months to say to you, give me a date. And I appreciate that you've come during the summer holidays when the kids are off school. And shout out to the boys as well. So go on, let's give an opportunity to
shout out to my 3 boys.
Yeah, Andy as well.
Yeah, and Tausif, yeah.
So this is a really tough time for people in the UK to travel out, and obviously you've come here. And the reason why I always want you to come here is because when you're speaking to clients and you're having them conversations, the more you see this on a day-to-day basis, and the more you see all the amazing work and the amazing people, and I always talk about that talent density that we've got in Islamabad. We've got 6 million people living here, and they're all looking for a great opportunity, and that's all we're focused on. First things first. Are we giving people that opportunity? Are we pushing them to improve? We hire people, and they've been doing these really high-end, top-end roles, and for big, massive organizations, and we're trying to push them to come and work for us. And there's only 50 of us, and we've got X amount of clients. Okay, our work might not be at the Coca-Cola and Pepsi and Nike level, but our ambition is, though. So do you feel that your ambition, because you are a very ambitious individual, your ambition, does it match with what we've got at this moment in time, or the direction that we're headed in?
I think, see, you're right, I am ambitious, and sometimes it's probably unrealistic ambition. But that unrealism is what makes me me, which was kind of often questioning the sort of, I guess, unthinkable. And I think that's possibly what's shaped a lot of the things that I've done. I've kind of gone and knocked on the doors of opportunity, or kissed, like to say, kiss many frogs, till you find a prince or princess, wherever you're looking for. And I think for me, our ambition is constantly going to be challenged day to day. And I say, look, this is our biggest struggle, which is operationally, what you've done here is unbelievable, and to be able to translate that to our clients, apart from having them sat in our office and seeing some of the magic that goes on, it's really, really difficult to convey that. They see the output and they see the results in their business, and they're absolutely high-fiving everybody. But for me, sometimes it's about how do they immerse themselves into what we're creating here with some of the great people. So for me, ambition and everything that we're doing is, we've got a huge amount of ambition. I don't think we're just having a conversation in the room downstairs about how do we push that out without kind of constantly pivoting to pivot. Because the challenge with pivots is that we're having to rethink brands, and we're having to rethink the design, the culture, and everything kind of comes. Then functions of business have to all be changed. There's a lot of disruption. But the bigger you become, it's that whole oil tanker, to move an oil tanker versus a nimble little ship, it becomes harder and harder. So we've got to make really, really calculated ambition to make sure it marries up with the organic growth more than anything. And I think we are definitely on the right path. 100% would agree with that. I think would I want more? Of course, absolutely. And I think it's really important when I say more. It's not the financial element of growing the business. Yeah, of course, who wouldn't? That's why we're in business. We want the business.
To be fair though, if we don't have the money, then we can't grow.
Absolutely.
So, you know,
Absolutely.
And it's that necessary evil piece, isn't it?
And I think it's also about changing the way people think, because I think as you know, being at the sort of leadership position and all the team, we're all commercially interested to make sure the business grows. However, that growth for me is the number of people, you know, the number of people that jump in on this journey with us and being at the sort of granular level and growing it with us. You know, that for me is being able to tell the stories. How do we create smaller communities within communities? How do we create a movement where we get recognized for our brand values and our brand DNA more than anything, and people want to work for us, because not for the fact that we're a huge organization doing making lots of sort of turnover and making lots of money, but because we're doing right by our people. And that's been central to everything we do, because
and I think we had really good training in previous businesses that helped us to understand that needs to be a priority, and I feel that we do bring that to life, and you know, that's the result of that is our staff turnover is really low. Our client satisfaction is really high. So this is about making sure that we get that bit right. But I think the risk in all of this always is, because I've been here now, exactly 5 years, sometimes things in Pakistan, I just see it as normal. And then you turn up and then you'll go, oh, what about that? And that's an opportunity and that's an opportunity. And then we've got this risk of being able to just constantly, now you've called it pivoting, but I'll call it diversifying, and then losing focus of what we're actually trying to do. And that's the beauty of where we are. If you compare the developed world to somewhere like Pakistan, here is just rife with opportunity. And that's where if you can get the talent and the people that work here, and you can get the opportunity and you can somehow marry them together, then, you know, sky's the limit. Because these are the challenges that the UK is facing at the moment, where you've got very expensive labour, you've got a labour force that might not be as nimble and as diversified as possible, and then meanwhile you've got all these really expensive costs that you've got to manage as well.
So it's interesting that you made that reference about me coming here, and you're right. Look, it is peak. Well, towards the end of the summer, and my boys have had, my 3 boys have had a great summer holidays, and the balancing act of family life, making sure. But everything I do is very much driven around making sure that they get an opportunity in life to then, whatever we create, then they go add that 10%. And we spoke about this, you know, our parents coming in the 60s from the UK, the diaspora, and, you know, if we go do what they did, that's never going to be enough. You know, we've got to add that 10%, and then they've got, and that's how that perpetual growth comes. And anyway, it goes back to a time, and you won't even remember, or you might do, when you became, in our previous business, won't mention their name in case we're trademarked or we've got to get certain signatures, but ultimately, you know, you became my senior, you were my boss, you were my mentor, and there was 27 other managers, and I distinctly remember this because I was one of your youngest managers at that time, and you'd ring me at ridiculous times, and I say 9, 10 o'clock on an evening, right? And you'd be like, Hussain, I've got this problem. I said, right, what's the problem? And you'd be like, oh, I'm like, oh, okay, what do you think? What about this? You're like, no, that's shit, right? And then you'd come out with an idea and you'd be like, that's shit. And we'd do like 9 or 10 shit ideas. And then the 11th one would be a golden nugget. We used to call it gold. I don't know if you remember this. And yeah, granted, from 27 managers, for me, I was learning. You know, I was young. I was around people who had the gift of knowledge. They had the gift of learning before me, and they were on their, you know, that conveyor belt. They were ahead of me, and my translation at the earliest point was learn from them, because they will tell you how to do it and how not to do it. And we did that a lot. We did it regularly. But the power to that was, if you remember, following morning, 7:30, you'd send out an email, say 27 managers, guys, can we all be on a conference call at 8 o'clock? Boom. 27 managers now on the conference call at 8 o'clock, for argument's sake. You'd convey the message, and by 9 o'clock we'd influence maybe 400 or 500 staff. By 1 o'clock, well, we've landed an idea that came just from what communication. And I think that's what business, one of the problems within business are we often over-engineer or often overcomplicate it, and really at basic level it's just two people talking. And the more open we are to that, and it's okay, listen, it's about me saying, listen, I'm okay not having all the answers, and it's okay if you've got the answers today. But if you're open to me giving you that critique, and I'm open to taking the critique, and I'm never ever going to think, Tausif did that because he was just being horrible to me, right? And I think that's where our relationship has probably been the best, because I know you'll never ever, unless we're probably going go-karting like yesterday, or it's to do our football rivalry, you'll never generally say anything that's driven around knocking me back. It's only for the overall benefit of the organisation. And I think why we work well, and why that having two different lenses, or many lenses, including our SLT team and every team member that we've got here, because everyone has a certain pathway, a certain bias, certain thing that I might not see. And I think with that in mind, we've managed to create this. And are we where we want to be? No. Are we really proud of where we are? 100%. And what does the future hold? Where's the limit?
I think you've reminded me of a conversation that you had with me, and we'd worked together for a while, and then you rang me up one day and you said, I'm going to ask you of something. And I said, go on, what do you need?
Did you show, is this ready for, are you sure this is okay for camera?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you said, I want you to be my mentor. And like you made it out like, I'd get a badge, or, I've got these responsibilities and I said, yeah, all right then. And, you made it out to be this thing. And I always talk to people about it at work here, and, mentors and mentees in Pakistan is not really a thing. And, I was speaking to the podcasting guys yesterday, and I was talking to them about this as well. Now they're going to think this guy just repeats his stories, yeah? And I was having a conversation with them yesterday, and I was saying to them the same thing. And because you're here, probably that's why that story is fresh in my mind. And I've gone around the office and I've gone, who's your mentor? And some people say their father, some people say their mother. And I went away and I thought about it, and I thought, no one said anyone but their mother and father. And I came back the following day and I said to them, you're all wrong. Your mother and father can't be your mentor. They're a level above. They've taught you how to walk, talk, sit, eat, language. They've taught you everything. That's not a mentor. That's someone, that's a parent. And that's why it's really important that we understand that bit that you're talking around, there's no emotion attached. It's just a straightforward, this is what's going to happen, this is what's not going to happen. And I think, I feel we've kind of got that balance in a decent place. We can get it better, where we can turn around to someone and say, actually, this is not good enough. Because the standard that we need to send back to our clients needs to be that 100% more. It needs to be that cut above the rest. We don't want to be, allowing our clients to be thinking, well, it's coming from Pakistan, so what do you expect? No, man, we're not signing up to that. We're always going to make sure that we're signing up to that cut above the rest, and it is the best. And it's not just about, actually, that's the best you can get in South Asia. No, but that's the best you can get worldwide. And if we keep that level of standard, then what happens is then automatically the Trickle Up brand's just going to keep going up and up and up.
Yeah, well, firstly, how old was I when I asked you to be my mentor?
I don't remember.
Must have been early 20s.
Yeah.
I was really sensible for a 20, early 20. That's my learnings from that. No, but I think.
Well, it did happen though, didn't it?
Yeah, but 100%, I'm never going to take that away. I'm just trying to remember what key mentoring lesson you would have given me. Was it shut up and get on with it? Don't cry about spilled milk.
The mentoring just ended.
Yeah, that was it. One lesson, one chapter, one page. Yeah. So that was your book. But no, I think just going back to that point where we kind of, I think within the Western world, and I think this is typically a problem, is we feel like we're the front leaders all the time, we're making all the rules, etc. But really, it's about perception. It's about the way we think about things. And I think when we look at what we've done, and honestly, every single day, going from floor, we've got 3 floors here, and we've not even gone to the top yet. Okay, and some of the things.
No one up there.
And there's no one up there. I think our numbers sort of go less and less. But as what we're projected to have double the number of staff by the end of the year, for argument's sake, it'll be phenomenal, because every single person we're going to is giving us different skills, different things. Now, it reminds me of a time where, you used to have the classical adverts on YouTube, and you'd have like, a Pepsi and a Coke, and they put a paper over it, and you'd sip it out, and you'd be like, oh, okay, which one tastes better? And if it was a Coca-Cola advert, they'd be like, oh yeah, Coca-Cola, reveal, it's a Coca-Cola, that's better than Pepsi. Weirdly, if you actually look at our mindsets and the way we're wired. If we put a big veil over digital marketing or IT skills and AI, and we suddenly said to people, which one's better? I guarantee you what we'd see is, so if you actually kind of look at it from and you asked a group of people to do the whole pound for pound check and said, which is better? I guarantee for a fact, right? The service delivery stuff that we're currently doing is up there, if not better. And all it is changing the mindset. And this is what we've got to be better at doing. And this is, these are biases that we've got and how we kind of, I guess, program ourselves to start thinking, actually, what's, with this digital sort of transformation that's happening in the world, how can we access better, okay, and not settle for the poor standards that we've got so used to because we're not comfortable, okay? And so, I've said this a lot, and I'll say it for hopefully the rest of my life, and I say it to my 3 boys who will make constant reference to throughout this podcast, is we've got to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. And the moment we do that, we can really push, we can really do some crazy things, and we can achieve some crazy things. But have we got that mindset? And I think that's where we are as a business, and what excites me the most, because people are kind of stepping away going, wow, I don't believe that's there, and we thought we were doing it so right over here. And speak to our clients. Our best, great, well, I'm going to be an ambassador for Trickle Up always. You will be. Our strong team of 50 might be. But go speak to our guys, our clients who are speaking to us on a day-to-day basis, and them same clients who are spending thousands. I'm not making this into a commercial ad, because if I was, I'd say I'd do something like that. But these are the guys that are becoming our ambassadors and saying, you know what, we spent thousands, and now what we're getting from a value trade-off point of view is so much more.
Yeah, and we already see the result of that. We already see our clients referring us to other people, and then we pick up clients, from there. And that's only going to happen when you're looking after your clients and you're producing results for them, because it's all good showing them some nice fancy branding kit, and our creative director would say that that's really important, and no doubt it is, but ultimately business owners, they want to know what's the financial impact of them taking on our services. But moving on then, obviously we've got to, we've spoken a lot about our internal organisation. We can't have a conversation without talking about AI and all of them things, and obviously you kind of have a view on AI, which is, I think a lot of the things that you'll speaking, you'll go, can we just AI that? And it's kind of a overly simplified kind of solution to what AI can do and what the future holds. So it'd be great if you could share your thoughts on AI and the way that the future's going.
So that's a really big question, that, because I think, talk to me about AI a year ago, talk to me about a month ago, talk to me about a week ago. I think the one constant thing is the constant trend of continuous development and how quick it's changing. And I think a year ago we were having this conversation about AI, and everyone was jumping on the ChatGPT, and we were probably just before the mass market, and because we're, I guess, in and around this space, and we were having this conversation about, humans versus AI, they're going to take, and it's been, but what was really important at that point, and one of our key themes that we had was, AI is here, but we see it as complementary to all the great things that we're doing as a team. Can it replace? Granted, it will replace certain roles because it makes sense. If we can automate it with a computer, but will it replace humans? No. We're not about to lose our whole team to AI. In fact, what our team does, or whichever way you look at it, one enhances the other, and it gets you that top 1% or top 5% that we're after. So that's my overall sort of getting away from all the fear and all the sort of negativity that's attached to it. AI as a concept, do I understand? I've got a decent enough understanding of it. All I know, it's a super powerful tool, and it will make my life better, more productive, and it'll allow me to look at other avenues along my journey, and I've got to make sure that it stays relevant through all of that. Or I just completely ignore it, and I'll still be okay. It's about how much you want to bring it within your fold. And for me, as a business, we've spoken about this, and we've got this AI sort of department that we're working on, and the IT side. I was speaking to the guys there. So you guys are at the forefront of this. This could grow into whatever. I'm saying it to them. I said, look, as a business leader, I can't tell you how big this is going to be. I know it's big. I know it's relevant. But as to how big it will be for us, it's you guys are at the driving seat. If we're doing it, let's do it. And if not, it's cool.
Yeah, I think for me, I've got two, you could argue, conflicting views about AI and automation, because that's one of the other things that we have to make sure that we focus on as well. And it's super important. You cannot not adopt it. You've got to make sure that you've got, we've just recently launched our AI department, and these guys are, doing internal automations, and we're bringing projects to life that our clients want us to do, and all of that great stuff, and we're going to have to keep doing that. But then for me, there's another view to that, and which is actually, as a consumer, when I'm now going on YouTube and I'm going on Facebook and I'm seeing all these AI pictures and I'm seeing all this AI content writing, and I was watching a podcast the other day, and the host was talking about his friend on LinkedIn who does all these posts, and meanwhile he says, I know my friend, that's not him, that's some AI writing for him, and meanwhile he's getting super great engagement and everything. But my argument and my challenge to the team always is, actually, when something's written human, you can tell. It hits. Whereas I think that AI thing, I think it just kind of puts that additional edge on that kind of makes it a little bit fake. And I feel that nowadays it's all about the real. We live in a very artificial world. There's so many artificial things going on, and now actually my social media is all artificial as well. And I'm watching my favorite content creators, and it's all artificial. And I'm thinking to myself, where's the realness in it? And for me, actually, the ums and the ahs that we're going to do now, and the bits that we're going to say wrong, and we're going to correct ourselves, and at times we'll not correct ourselves, and what the editors will do with splicing it together. It will look amazing, like that pause there will be gone, but actually it's real and it's authentic, and that can't go anywhere, and it'll always have a space. And that's why, one of my motivations for doing podcasting always is to demonstrate to our clients, this is not a difficult thing to do. If you start creating content, and you could be in the medical industry, you could be in any industry, you could be in legal, you could be in anything. And if you've got a great story to tell, you can add value to people, then why would you not do this? To wrap up this podcast, did you have anything else that you wanted to?
Oh, there's loads. Listen, I can sit here and talk about business forever, and it's my one passion that sits at the core of everything I do, and I love it. I breathe it, and I could sit and do volumes of this. Ironically, I've only done one, which is with you. But
I thought you were going to say I could sit here and talk to you all day.
Oh no, of course, yeah, and that bit as well. Awkward, right? But very. But I think from a final thoughts point of view, I guess where we this came just from a really casual conversation, and us plug in a problem that we've seen commonly happen in the Western world, and geographically the way you ended up here, and our journey from the beginning, and that was it. It was just a solution mindset that we've always offered.
But do you know what though? I always talk about destiny as well, and 18 years ago, I knew we would eventually end up working together.
Wow, that passionate. That's deep. And that's like a podcast too. That we talk about the deep connection.
I knew back then, and you won't remember this, but I actually said to you, you're one of the few people that I could actually work with in a business.
It's getting really emotional. I think you should really be careful
so
here.
Many years back later, it became a reality.
I don't know.
So, but
I'm not giving my final thoughts. Like this is the bit that I say. For everything we've done, equally, this is an opportunity to literally thank everyone that's been on this journey with us, because literally it's great us sitting here and having a great plan and this, that, the other, but that's the real engine for me, and the guys, the girls that have been part of this business from day one. Some have stayed with us from the beginning right to some have come and done their piece and moved on, and I thank them as well, because they've made us learn. So for me, it's a massive thank you to them, but really it's just strap yourself in, because everything that's going to happen in the future is so much bigger and so much better. But the key thing is we've got our learnings now, we've got our foundations, and more than anything, we've got the great stories to tell with our existing clients who are more friends now, more than anything. and they'll be our ambassadors. So yeah, you know, upwards and onwards more than anything.
Excellent. I think for my final thoughts, we've just had probably a 45 to 50 minute conversation, unscripted, by the way.
Yeah.
No points, no preparation, absolutely nothing. And I want to do a full 360 on this, and I want to end this with again appreciating, recognizing all the hard work that you do, Hussain. And I'd like to congratulate you on, you've got a very nice office, and you've got loads of employees that are here, and I'd just like to say well done.
Is that the official handshake?
Because I have been given the feedback that I'm not very good at recognition. So.
Wow, who said that?
Well, you don't think that that's the case?
Oh, I think you're all right. I wouldn't say you're great, but I'd say, you know, I wouldn't say you're bad either. So.
If you're going to do something, be great and do it there.
All right, so then you've got some work to do then, haven't you?
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.